So you made a list for me of sort of the different stops you've had, the schools you've coached at, the programs you've coached in, maybe even some of the results you've had. Can you kind of synopsize that for us, just so we can get an idea of the last 4 or 5 years, where you've been and what you've been doing?
Yeah, I started at Santa Monica my first year, and that was 2017. And then I took over the Palisades job literally the night before their first scrimmage because their coach left. And I saw a full-time job, and I was like, how am I going to do this? But we made it work. We won the City League championship, and I coached there for 4 years. We won it every year, and lucky enough, there's a Division II championship they created, and we ended up beating one of our rivals, Brentwood. And then, just this year, Steve Lane left Chaminade, and they had another coach there briefly. But I knew a lot of the players and families there previously, and they offered me the job. So this spring, moving forward, if we get a chance to play and train, I'll be doing that at Chaminade at Prep. So I'm excited for that. And then, over the last 3 years, after coaching with a couple other local club teams, I decided to go out on my own because I kind of just knew I couldn't build a club program overnight. And I didn't really have the resources with Club Pacific I created. It's basically training, player development, and also recruiting. And I think, my ability and connections at a younger age, I still know a lot of college coaches that recruited me. And that kind of led me to becoming the Sting national head coach. Sting's one of the oldest programs based out of Long Island, but now it's pretty much a national team like a lot of the other ones are. So what I do is, I build these relationships, then I travel with them, back to them, and they get to join some really talented players back on the East Coast. And, like I said, I kind of decided that's my niche, and that's the model I want to go with. And I think it's been very effective. And, I'd like to continue to do that for players that are looking to go back east and have that, that relationship with a coach rather than just get, parents spend all that money, they send their kid out there, coaches promise this kids all this. Sometimes they don't even play. So I think it's been a really nice, mix for these players. And, we've had some really good times back east doing that.
About 12, 13 years ago, I was one of those high school player lacrosse parents, kid looking to go back and play D1, and it was baffling. Not only how do you get noticed, but what's the right fit? And can you give anybody just a taste of sort of how you approach that with an individual player? Sort of what counsel do you give? What questions do you ask? How do you take them by the hand?
I ask them to create a list first, just to do it. Then we go over it a little bit. Then I also ask, what are you looking for in a school? Big school, small school. What are you looking for academically? Obviously, before all that, I always ask what their GPA is, what's their scores, because that can put them in a place. And to parents, it's a journey. Be excited about it. I always say, how many is your kid's friends getting recruited, for academics? Like you have something that's special. I know it's a journey and it gets a little stressful, but that's what I try to calm parents down and the kids down and help them find the right school. I think what I provide is kind of helping, holding hand and just being patient and using my connections and, just helping the kid also figure out what he wants. You never want a kid to show up to school and be like, this is not for me. And the beautiful thing too, there's so many options now, just between club through Division I, so many different programs from Division II, III. I think giving the kids a lot of ability to find a home, because the more kids that are playing with the less Division I schools being added Division III, it's important to find these different places you can play, because I think it's a lot harder to get recruited now than it's ever been. So,
Sure.
Especially on the West Coast.